You can eat protein all day after 60 and still keep losing muscle, and almost nobody is telling you why. Every doctor tells you to eat more chicken, more eggs, more protein shakes, and yes, protein matters. But after 60, the real problem is often not how much protein you eat. It is whether your muscles can still use it. When inflammation rises, blood flow drops, mitochondria weaken, and growth signals fade. Protein alone is no longer enough. That is why so many older adults do everything right and still feel weaker getting out of a chair, walking upstairs, or carrying groceries. But certain fruits may help turn those pathways back on. And by the time you get to number 1, you may never look at fruit the same way again. 10. Watermelon. We start with a fruit that most people think of as nothing but water and sugar. They are wrong. Watermelon is a serious muscle-building tool, and the reason is an amino acid called citrulline. Watermelon is the richest natural food source of L-citrulline. When you eat watermelon, the citrulline is absorbed into your bloodstream and converted by your kidneys into L-arginine, which is then used to produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a gas molecule that relaxes and widens your blood vessels. Wider blood vessels mean more blood flow. More blood flow to your muscles means more oxygen delivery, more nutrient delivery, and more efficient removal of the waste products that build up during and after exercise. But here is why this matters specifically for muscle building after 60. As you age, your blood vessels stiffen. The endothelial cells that line them produce less nitric oxide. Blood flow to your muscles decreases, and the amino acids from your meals are delivered more slowly and in smaller quantities to the muscle fibers that need them. A study published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that watermelon juice supplementation significantly reduced muscle soreness and improved recovery time after exercise. The citrulline from watermelon increased blood flow to the working muscles, improved the delivery of amino acids for repair, and accelerated the removal of ammonia and lactate that cause fatigue. Watermelon also contains a significant amount of lycopene, the red pigment that is a potent antioxidant. Lycopene reduces oxidative stress that damages muscle cell mitochondria, supporting the energy production that muscles need for both contraction and repair. 2 cups of fresh watermelon provide approximately 250 milligrams of citrulline. Eat it before or after physical activity for maximum benefit. The rind contains even higher concentrations of citrulline than the flesh, so if you can blend it into a smoothie, you will get a substantially larger dose. There is a second mechanism of citrulline that is directly relevant to muscle protein synthesis. When your body breaks down amino acids for energy during exercise, one of the toxic byproducts is ammonia. Ammonia accumulates in the blood during physical activity and contributes to muscle fatigue. It also directly inhibits muscle protein synthesis by interfering with the mechanistic target of rapamycin pathway. High ammonia levels suppress the growth signal. Citrulline is a key intermediate in the urea cycle, the biochemical pathway that converts toxic ammonia into harmless urea for excretion by the kidneys. By providing additional citrulline, watermelon accelerates ammonia clearance, reduces its inhibitory effect on muscle-building pathways, and allows protein synthesis to resume at full capacity sooner after exercise. A study published in the European Journal of Nutrition found that citrulline supplementation from watermelon juice increased the rate of muscle protein synthesis following exercise compared to a placebo. The researchers attributed this improvement to both enhanced blood flow and accelerated ammonia detoxification. Watermelon also provides vitamin B6, which is a cofactor for transaminase enzymes involved in amino acid metabolism. Better amino acid metabolism means more efficient use of the protein you eat for muscle building rather than energy production. 9. Tart cherries. Tart cherries rank at number 9 because they are one of the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory fruits ever studied for muscle health. Chronic inflammation is one of the primary reasons your muscles shrink with age. After 60, your body often runs a low-grade inflammatory state that never fully turns off. Inflammatory molecules like interleukin-6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha remain elevated. These molecules do two damaging things to your muscles. First, they block the growth signals that tell muscle cells to absorb amino acids and build new protein. Second, they activate pathways that break down existing muscle protein. You are losing muscle not only because you build less, but also because your body is actively breaking it down from within. Tart cherry anthocyanins, especially cyanidin compounds, suppress both of these inflammatory pathways. They inhibit the nuclear factor kappa B signaling cascade that drives inflammatory molecule production, and they reduce the activity of cyclooxygenase enzymes that generate inflammatory prostaglandins. A study published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition found that tart cherry supplementation reduced markers of muscle damage by up to 50% after intense exercise. Creatine kinase levels, which measure muscle fiber breakdown, were significantly lower compared to placebo. For people over 60, the benefit goes beyond exercise recovery. Reducing chronic inflammation improves the sensitivity of the muscle-building pathway known as the mechanistic target of rapamycin. This pathway becomes more responsive to leucine, the amino acid that triggers muscle protein synthesis. By lowering inflammatory noise, tart cherries allow the growth signal to pass through more effectively. 1 tablespoon of tart cherry juice, concentrate daily, or 1 cup of frozen tart cherries provides a clinically relevant dose of anthocyanins. There is another important mechanism related to muscle preservation. Muscle cells contain a signaling pathway controlled by proteins known as the forkhead box O family. When activated by inflammation, this pathway turns on genes that produce enzymes responsible for breaking down muscle protein through the ubiquitin proteasome system. This process acts like a demolition signal. When inflammation is high, muscle breakdown accelerates. Tart cherry anthocyanins suppress the signals that trigger this pathway, helping reduce the rate at which muscle is broken down. This dual action enhancing muscle growth signaling while suppressing breakdown is what makes tart cherries especially effective. Most interventions affect only one side, but tart cherries influence both. They also contain natural melatonin, which supports deeper sleep. Growth hormone essential for overnight muscle repair is released primarily during the first phase of deep sleep. Better sleep leads to more growth hormone and more effective recovery. 8. Kiwi fruit. Kiwi is included for a reason that has nothing to do with antioxidants or anti-inflammatory effects. It addresses a critical limitation in muscle-building poor protein digestion. After 60, your stomach produces less acid, your pancreas releases fewer digestive enzymes, and your gut absorbs nutrients less efficiently. As a result, much of the protein you eat is not fully broken down into usable amino acids. Kiwi contains a unique enzyme called actinidin that significantly improves protein digestion. It works across both the acidic environment of the stomach and the more alkaline environment of the small intestine. Actinidin breaks down meat, dairy, and plant proteins into smaller peptides and free amino acids more efficiently than your aging digestive system can manage alone. A study published in Advances in Food and Nutrition Research showed that adding kiwi to a protein meal increased both the rate and completeness of protein digestion. More amino acids were released, more were absorbed into the bloodstream, and more became available for muscle protein synthesis. Kiwi is also extremely rich in vitamin C. 2 kiwis provide over 100% of the daily requirement. Vitamin C is essential for collagen synthesis, and collagen makes up about 6% of muscle mass, while also forming the tendons that connect muscle to bone. Without enough vitamin C, tendons weaken, injury risk increases, and the structural support for muscle fibers deteriorates. Eating 2 kiwis with your protein meals improves amino acid absorption and supports connective tissue health. Research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that consuming vitamin C before exercise significantly increased collagen synthesis in tendons, nearly doubling production compared to exercise without it. For individuals over 60, this is highly practical. Eating 2 kiwis before training helps strengthen tendons, allowing you to safely increase resistance over time, which is essential for muscle growth. Actinidin also benefits those consuming more plant-based proteins. Plant proteins are harder to digest due to their tightly folded structures and association with fiber and anti-nutritional compounds. Actinidin helps break down these structures, increasing the availability of amino acids from plant-based meals. This makes kiwi especially valuable for those shifting toward plant-based diets for heart health or cholesterol management. 7. Bananas. Bananas are widely known as a healthy food, but their specific role in muscle function is often overlooked. They are one of the richest fruit sources of potassium, providing about 420 milligrams per medium fruit. Potassium is not just an electrolyte for preventing cramps. It plays a fundamental role in muscle contraction at the cellular level. Each muscle contraction depends on the exchange of sodium and potassium ions across the cell membrane. Sodium enters to trigger contraction and potassium exits to reset the cell. This process repeats millions of times during a workout and rapidly depletes potassium stores. When potassium levels are low, muscles cannot contract with full force. They fatigue faster, recover more slowly, and receive less mechanical stimulus for growth. Even if you perform the same exercises as before, insufficient potassium reduces their effectiveness. Potassium also helps regulate acid-base balance in the body. After 60, the body tends toward mild metabolic acidosis due to reduced kidney function and dietary patterns. This low-grade acidity promotes muscle protein breakdown and inhibits synthesis. It gradually erodes muscle tissue. Potassium acts as a buffer, helping restore balance and create a more favorable environment for muscle growth. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that higher potassium intake was associated with greater lean muscle mass in older adults, independent of protein intake and physical activity levels. Bananas also provide fast-digesting carbohydrates that increase insulin levels. Insulin acts as a necessary co-signal for muscle-building pathways. Without it, even strong amino acid signals cannot fully activate muscle protein synthesis. Eating a banana with a post-workout protein meal enhances the muscle-building response. One banana before or after exercise is a simple and effective habit for supporting muscle health. Understanding insulin's role is essential, as it is often misunderstood, especially among those who avoid carbohydrates due to concerns about blood sugar and insulin resistance. And for people eating processed carbohydrates all day with no physical activity, that concern has some validity. But around exercise, carbohydrates and the insulin response they trigger are actually essential for muscle growth. The mechanistic target of rapamycin pathway, the master switch for muscle protein synthesis, has 2 activation requirements. First, it needs leucine from dietary protein. Second, it needs insulin. Think of it like a lock with 2 keys. Both keys must be turned simultaneously to open the door. Leucine is one key, insulin is the other. If you eat protein without any carbohydrate, you get the leucine, but only a modest insulin response. One key is turned, but the other is only half turned. The muscle-building pathway activates partially. If you eat the same protein alongside a banana, the natural sugars in the banana trigger a stronger insulin response. Both keys are fully turned. The pathway opens completely and more amino acids are pulled into the muscle cell for protein synthesis. This is why the post-exercise meal should always include both protein and a fast-digesting carbohydrate source. And a banana is the perfect natural option because it provides the carbohydrates for insulin, the potassium for contraction and acid-base balance, and the vitamin B6 for amino acid metabolism, all in a single, portable, inexpensive, ready-to-eat food. 6. Avocado. Avocado surprises people on a muscle list. It is technically a fruit, and it contains a compound that no other common fruit provides, avocatin B. Avocatin B is a unique fatty acid that has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity in skeletal muscle. After 60, your muscle cells become progressively resistant to insulin. This insulin resistance does not just affect blood sugar, it directly impairs the muscle-building pathway. The mechanistic target of rapamycin complex, the master switch for muscle protein synthesis, requires an insulin signal to become fully activated. When your muscle cells are insulin resistant, this signal is weak. The pathway does not fully switch on, and the amino acids from your meal are not efficiently incorporated into new muscle tissue. Avocatin B works by improving the way your muscle cell mitochondria burn fat for fuel. When fat burning is efficient, fewer toxic lipid byproducts accumulate inside the cell. These toxic lipids, specifically ceramides and diacylglycerols, are the primary cause of muscle insulin resistance. By reducing their accumulation, avocatin B restores the insulin signaling that primes the muscle-building pathway. Avocado also provides approximately 3 grams of protein per fruit, including all essential amino acids. While this is modest compared to animal sources, the monounsaturated fat in avocado slows the digestion and absorption of amino acids from the entire meal, creating a sustained release that extends the window of muscle protein synthesis. Avocado is also the richest commonly consumed fruit source of potassium, providing 975 milligrams per fruit, more than twice the amount in a banana. It provides glutathione, the master antioxidant that protects the amino acid transporters on your muscle cell surface. And it provides magnesium, a cofactor for hundreds of enzymes, including many involved in protein synthesis. Half to 1 avocado daily paired with a protein-rich meal provides the insulin-sensitizing anti-inflammatory and nutrient delivery support that makes your protein meals dramatically more effective at building muscle. Let me elaborate on the glutathione connection because it is more directly relevant to muscle protein synthesis than most people realize. When you eat protein, the amino acids from that protein must physically enter your muscle cells before they can be assembled into new muscle tissue. They do not just float in through the cell wall. They are actively transported by proteins embedded in the muscle cell membrane called amino acid transporters. These transporters are vulnerable to oxidative damage. When free radicals attack the cell membrane, the transporter proteins lose their shape and become less efficient at pumping amino acids into the cell. Glutathione, which avocado provides more of than any other commonly consumed fruit, protects these transporter proteins by maintaining the structural integrity of the cell membrane they are embedded in. A study published in the American Journal of Physiology found that reduced glutathione levels in skeletal muscle were directly correlated with impaired leucine uptake. When glutathione was restored, leucine uptake improved, and the muscle protein synthesis response to protein feeding was partially rescued. This means that avocado does not just improve insulin sensitivity. It ensures that the amino acid delivery system on the surface of your muscle cells is working properly. You can eat all the protein in the world, but if the transporter proteins on your muscle cells are damaged, the amino acids cannot get inside where they are needed. Avocado also provides a significant amount of oleic acid, the monounsaturated fat that has anti-inflammatory effects through modulation of the toll-like receptor 4 pathway. This adds a third anti-inflammatory mechanism to the protocol, complementing the cyclooxygenase inhibition from tart cherries and the nuclear factor kappa B suppression from goji berries. 5. Pomegranate. We have reached the top 5, and this is where the science gets truly remarkable. Pomegranate is here because it produces a compound in your gut that is the most potent natural activator of muscle cell cleanup ever discovered. When you eat pomegranate, the L-argitannins in the fruit are broken down by your gut bacteria into a molecule called urolithin A. This molecule triggers a process called mitophagy, the selective removal and recycling of damaged mitochondria inside your muscle cells. After 60, your muscle cells accumulate damaged mitochondria that leak toxic free radicals and produce energy inefficiently. These damaged mitochondria are not just useless, they are harmful. They poison the cell from within, reducing the energy available for muscle protein synthesis and damaging the signaling machinery that drives growth. Urolithin A tags these damaged mitochondria for destruction, breaks them down, and recycles their components so the cell can build fresh, efficient replacements. The result is a muscle cell with cleaner energy production, less oxidative damage, and restored sensitivity to growth signals. A clinical trial published in Nature Medicine demonstrated that urolithin A supplementation improved mitochondrial function and muscle endurance in older adults. The researchers described the improvement as comparable to the effects of regular endurance exercise, a compound from pomegranate producing exercise-like benefits in muscle mitochondria. A second study published in Nature Aging found that urolithin A also rejuvenated the satellite cells, the muscle stem cells that are essential for muscle repair and growth. The stem cells became more responsive, divided more readily, and maintained their ability to become functional muscle fibers rather than turning into fat or scar tissue. Pomegranate also contains punicic acid, which reduces the infiltration of fat into muscle tissue. Fat-loaded muscle is weaker, more insulin-resistant, and less responsive to growth signals. By keeping intramuscular fat in check, punicic acid helps maintain the metabolic environment that supports growth. 1 cup of pomegranate juice or 1 cup of pomegranate aerials daily provides the L-argitannins your gut bacteria need to produce urolithin A. Consistent daily consumption also cultivates the specific gut bacteria that perform this conversion, making the process more efficient over time. There is an important detail about urolithin, a production that is worth understanding. Not everyone's gut microbiome produces urolithin A with equal efficiency. The bacteria responsible for converting pomegranate L-argitannins into urolithin A are more abundant in people who eat a diverse, fiber-rich diet. If your diet has been low in fiber and high in processed foods, your urolithin A production capacity may be initially low. This is actually one of the reasons why the full 10-fruit protocol is more effective than any single fruit alone. The fiber from bananas, kiwis, papayas, and the other fruits on this list feeds the beneficial gut bacteria that produce urolithin A from pomegranate. By eating all 10 fruits, you are simultaneously providing the raw materials for urolithin, a production and cultivating the bacterial workforce that performs the conversion. Over weeks of consistent consumption, the gut microbiome adapts. The urolithin A-producing bacteria proliferate, and the muscle-renewing effects of pomegranate become progressively stronger. Pomegranate also provides a substantial dose of punicalagins, the largest polyphenol molecules found in any fruit. Punicalagins are powerful antioxidants that reduce systemic oxidative stress, protecting muscle cell membranes and signaling proteins from the free radical damage that impairs the growth response. 4. Papaya. Papaya is the most underrated muscle fruit on this list, and its secret weapon is a carotenoid called beta-cryptoxanthin. Beta-cryptoxanthin is a relatively obscure compound that has gained significant attention in muscle research over the past decade. Unlike most antioxidants that provide general protection, beta-cryptoxanthin has been shown to have a specific direct relationship with muscle tissue that no other carotenoid matches. A study published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that higher blood levels of beta-cryptoxanthin were independently associated with greater muscle mass and muscle strength in older adults. The association was stronger than for any other individual carotenoid studied, including beta-carotene lycopene and lutein. Something about beta-cryptoxanthin specifically supports muscle tissue in a way that other antioxidants do not. The mechanism appears to involve beta-cryptoxanthin's activation of a nuclear receptor that regulates the expression of genes involved in mitochondrial function and oxidative stress defense in skeletal muscle. By activating this receptor, beta-cryptoxanthin upregulates the internal antioxidant defenses of the muscle cell, protecting the mitochondria and the growth signaling machinery from the oxidative damage that accumulates with age. But beta-cryptoxanthin also has a direct anti-catabolic effect. It inhibits the nuclear factor kappa B pathway in muscle tissue and reduces the expression of specific genes called atrogenes that encode the enzymes responsible for breaking down muscle protein. This means beta-cryptoxanthin does not just help build muscle, it actively prevents muscle from being torn down. Papaya is one of the richest fruit sources of beta-cryptoxanthin, providing far more per serving than oranges, tangerines, or any other commonly cited source. Papaya also contains papain, a powerful digestive enzyme, similar to the actinidin in kiwi. Papain breaks down protein in the gut, improving amino acid absorption and delivery to the muscles. The combination of enhanced digestion from papain and enhanced muscle protection from beta-cryptoxanthin makes papaya a dual-action muscle fruit. 1 to 2 cups of fresh or frozen papaya daily provides a clinically meaningful dose of beta-cryptoxanthin alongside the digestive support of papain. Papaya also provides a significant amount of lycopene, the same red pigment found in tomatoes. In the context of muscle health, lycopene improves blood flow to the muscles by enhancing endothelial function and stimulating nitric oxide production. This vascular benefit complements the citrulline-mediated blood flow improvement from watermelon and the anthocyanin-mediated vasodilation from blueberries, giving you 3 independent mechanisms for improving the nutrient highway that delivers amino acids to your muscle cells. There is one more benefit of papaya that is specific to people over 60. Papaya contains a significant amount of vitamin C, approximately 90 milligrams per cup, which contributes to the total vitamin C pool needed for collagen synthesis that maintains tendons, fascia, and intramuscular connective tissue. Combined with the vitamin C from kiwi and oranges, the 3 fruits together provide a sustained supply of this essential collagen-building cofactor throughout the day. Papaya is also exceptionally rich in folate, which supports the methylation cycle that produces creatine. This complements the betaine from goji berries, which supports the same cycle through a different mechanism. 2 fruits supporting creatine production through 2 biochemical entry points ensures that this critical energy molecule is available for the explosive muscle contractions that stimulate growth. 3. Goji berries. Goji berries are here because they contain compounds found in no other commonly consumed fruit, Lycium barbarum polysaccharides. These are complex sugar-protein molecules unique to goji berries that interact with the immune system in ways that directly benefit muscle health. They do not suppress the immune system like a drug. They modulate it. They calm the overactive inflammatory signals that are driving muscle breakdown while simultaneously enhancing the immune functions that support muscle repair. A study published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology demonstrated that Lycium barbarum polysaccharides significantly reduced circulating levels of interleukin-6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha, the two primary inflammatory molecules driving age-related muscle wasting. But goji berries have a second muscle mechanism that is completely unique. They contain one of the highest concentrations of betaine found in any fruit. Betaine, also known as trimethylglycine, enhances muscle protein synthesis through a pathway that is completely independent of the mechanistic target of rapamycin. Betaine works as a methyl donor in the methylation cycle, supporting the production of creatine, the molecule that provides the rapid burst of energy your muscles need during contraction. After 60, creatine production declines naturally. Less creatine in the muscles means less explosive power, slower recovery, and reduced capacity for the intense contractions that stimulate growth. A study published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition found that betaine supplementation increased lean body mass and muscle power output. The mechanism involved both enhanced creatine synthesis and improved cellular hydration. Betaine is an osmolyte that draws water into muscle cells, creating a fuller, more anabolic intracellular environment. Goji berries are also one of the few fruits that contain all 8 essential amino acids, including leucine. While the total protein content is modest, the complete amino acid profile contributes meaningfully to the overall amino acid supply, especially when consumed alongside other protein sources. Research published in Rejuvenation found that goji berry supplementation increased serum growth hormone levels in older adults. Growth hormone is the primary hormonal driver of muscle repair during sleep, and its decline after 60 is one of the major factors contributing to sarcopenia. 1 to 2 ounces of dried goji berries daily, or 1/4 cup of goji berry powder mixed into a smoothie, provides the unique polysaccharides betaine and amino acids that make goji berries one of the most powerful muscle-supporting fruits available. Let me go deeper on the growth hormone finding, because it has significant practical implications. The study published in Rejuvenation Research found that goji berry supplementation not only increased serum growth hormone levels, but also improved sleep quality and subjective energy levels in older adults. These 3 effects are interconnected. Better sleep leads to stronger growth hormone pulses, which leads to more effective overnight muscle repair, which leads to better energy and recovery the following day. Growth hormone does not just help muscles grow, it also stimulates the liver to produce insulin-like growth factor 1, which has its own independent effects on muscle protein synthesis. Insulin-like growth factor 1 activates the mechanistic target of rapamycin pathway, directly providing an additional growth signal that combines with the leucine signal from dietary protein and the insulin signal from carbohydrates. Goji berries are essentially adding a third key to the lock that opens the muscle-building door. The immune modulation from Lycium barbarum polysaccharides also deserves a deeper explanation. Most anti-inflammatory interventions work by broadly suppressing the immune system. This can reduce inflammation, but it also weakens the immune defenses that protect against infection. Goji berry polysaccharides are different. They selectively reduce the overactive inflammatory signaling that damages muscle while enhancing natural killer cell activity and T-cell function that protect against infection. For someone over 60, this selective modulation is ideal. You want less inflammation in your muscles, but you absolutely do not want a weaker immune system. Goji berries achieve both objectives simultaneously, which is something pharmaceutical anti-inflammatory drugs cannot do. Goji berries also contain zeaxanthin and other carotenoids that provide additional antioxidant protection for muscle cell membranes. While their concentration is not as high as in some other fruits, every additional layer of antioxidant defense helps protect the signaling proteins and mitochondrial membranes inside muscle cells from the cumulative oxidative damage of aging. 2. Blueberries. Blueberries rank number 2, and the reason they are this high on the list has nothing to do with their antioxidant content in general. It has to do with one specific compound, pterostilbene. Pterostilbene is a molecule found in blueberries that is structurally similar to resveratrol but is absorbed into the bloodstream 4 times more efficiently. Once in the bloodstream, pterostilbene activates a protein called sirtuin, one which has been called the longevity protein by researchers. In muscle tissue, sirtuin-1 is a master regulator of mitochondrial function. When activated, it triggers a chain of events that results in the creation of brand new healthy mitochondria to replace the damaged leaky ones that have been dragging your muscle cells down. This process is called mitochondrial biogenesis, and it is one of the most powerful things you can do for aging muscle. Fresh, efficient mitochondria produce more cellular energy with less oxidative waste. More energy means the muscle cell can power the protein synthesis machinery at full capacity. Less oxidative waste means less damage to the growth signaling proteins. The muscle cell becomes younger in its metabolic function even as the organism continues to age. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that blueberry consumption improved markers of mitochondrial function in skeletal muscle while reducing oxidative stress markers. The muscles were producing more energy and generating less damage at the same time. Blueberries also dramatically improve muscle blood flow. Their anthocyanins stimulate nitric oxide production in blood vessel walls, dilating the vessels and increasing the delivery of oxygen and amino acids to muscle tissue. Better blood flow means every protein meal delivers more amino acids to the muscles and removes waste products more efficiently. But here is the mechanism that elevates blueberries to number 2 on this list. They protect the neuromuscular junction, the connection point between your motor nerves and your muscle fibers. Every voluntary movement starts with an electrical signal from your brain that travels to the neuromuscular junction, where the nerve releases a chemical called acetylcholine that triggers the muscle to contract. After 60, these junctions deteriorate. The nerve terminals retract. Acetylcholine release becomes unreliable. Muscle fibers that lose their neural connection cannot be voluntarily activated. They sit idle and eventually atrophy regardless of how much protein you eat. Blueberry compounds protect the neuromuscular junction from the oxidative and inflammatory damage that drives this deterioration. Research published in the Journals of Gerontology found that blueberry supplementation improved neuromuscular function as measured by grip, strength, balance, and walking speed in aged subjects. This is critical. You are not just preserving muscle quantity, you are preserving the neural control that makes that muscle usable. Muscle without a working nerve connection is dead weight. 1 to 2 cups of frozen wild blueberries daily is ideal. Wild blueberries contain roughly double the anthocyanin concentration of cultivated varieties. Frozen blueberries retain all the bioactive compounds and cost a fraction of fresh. I want to explain why neuromuscular junction protection is so important, because it is the most overlooked aspect of sarcopenia and the one that separates useful muscle from useless muscle. You could theoretically maintain your total muscle mass through nutrition and hormonal support, but if the neuromuscular junctions are deteriorating, you would still become weaker, slower, and less coordinated. This is because muscle fibers that have lost their neural connection cannot be voluntarily recruited. They still exist physically, but functionally, they are dead. Your brain sends the signal to contract, but the signal never arrives. After 60, the rate of neuromuscular junction deterioration accelerates. The motor nerve terminals shrink. The area of contact between the nerve and the muscle fiber decreases. The number of acetylcholine receptors on the muscle side of the junction declines. The result is a progressive disconnection between the nervous system and the muscular system that manifests as weakness, clumsiness, and loss of balance. This is actually the reason balance deteriorates with age and why falls become such a serious risk. It is not primarily a brain problem or an inner ear problem. It is largely a neuromuscular junction problem. The muscles that maintain posture and balance are losing their nerve connections. Blueberry compounds protect these junctions by reducing oxidative damage and inflammation at the junction site. The mitochondria in the nerve terminals, which provide the energy for acetylcholine synthesis and release, are protected by the pterostilbene-induced mitochondrial renewal. The result is more reliable neural activation of muscle fibers, better force production, better coordination, and better balance. This is why functional measures like grip strength, walking speed, and balance improve with blueberry consumption even in the absence of changes in muscle size. The muscle is being controlled more effectively, not just maintained more effectively. 1. Orange. And the number one fruit for building muscle and stopping sarcopenia is one that has been sitting in your kitchen your entire life, the common orange. This is going to surprise a lot of people. Oranges do not have exotic compounds. They do not have any single molecule that makes headlines. But when you understand what oranges provide and how those compounds work together, you will see why they belong at the top of this list. Oranges are the most concentrated, commonly consumed fruit source of hesperidin. Hesperidin is a flavonone found almost exclusively in citrus fruits, with the highest concentrations in oranges and tangerines, and hesperidin has a specific, well-documented effect on skeletal muscle that is unlike anything provided by any other fruit on this list. Hesperidin activates the AMP-activated protein kinase pathway in skeletal muscle. This is the cellular energy sensor that coordinates the balance between energy consumption and energy production in the muscle cell. When AMP-activated protein kinase is properly activated, it promotes mitochondrial biogenesis, increases fatty acid oxidation to clean up the toxic lipids that cause insulin resistance, and primes the cell for subsequent growth signaling. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Biochemistry and Nutrition found that hesperidin supplementation improved muscle function and reduced muscle fatigue in older adults. The improvements were attributed to enhanced mitochondrial function and reduced oxidative stress in muscle tissue. But hesperidin does something else that directly addresses the sarcopenia equation. It suppresses the muscle-wasting pathway mediated by myostatin. Myostatin is a protein produced by muscle cells that acts as a brake on muscle growth. It tells the muscle to stop growing. In young, healthy muscle, myostatin keeps growth in check, so muscles do not become disproportionately large. But after 60, myostatin levels increase, and the brake becomes too strong. The muscle cannot grow even when the growth signals and raw materials are present. Research published in the journal Nutrients demonstrated that hesperidin reduced myostatin expression in skeletal muscle tissue while simultaneously increasing the expression of muscle growth factors. The net effect was a shift in the balance from breakdown to building. This dual action, cleaning up mitochondria through AMP-activated protein kinase while releasing the myostatin brake, makes hesperidin one of the most comprehensive natural muscle-supporting compounds ever identified. But oranges provide much more than hesperidin. Oranges are one of the best fruit sources of vitamin C, providing approximately 70 milligrams per medium fruit. Vitamin C is essential for collagen synthesis, and collagen forms the structural framework of the tendons, fascia, and intramuscular connective tissue that supports every muscle fiber. Without adequate vitamin C, this connective tissue weakens, injury risk increases, and the physical infrastructure that muscle fibers depend on deteriorates. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that vitamin C supplementation before exercise doubled the rate of collagen synthesis in tendon tissue. Stronger tendons mean more efficient force transmission from muscle to bone, allowing you to train more effectively and with less injury risk. Oranges also provide folate, which reduces homocysteine levels. Elevated homocysteine is associated with reduced muscle function and increased sarcopenia risk in epidemiological studies. By keeping homocysteine in check, the folate from oranges removes a metabolic obstacle to muscle health. Oranges provide potassium for acid-base buffering thiamine for energy metabolism and a suite of flavonoids beyond hesperidin that provide additional anti-inflammatory and antioxidant support. And here is the practical advantage that puts oranges at number one. They are available everywhere year-round at the lowest cost of any fruit on this list. You can eat 2 or 3 oranges a day without straining your budget. You can juice them for a concentrated vitamin C dose. You can add the zest to cooking for additional flavonoid content. They are the most accessible, most affordable, and most sustainable muscle-building fruit habit you can develop. 2 to 3 oranges daily every single day. The hesperidin, the vitamin C, the folate, the potassium, and the complete flavonoid package make the humble orange the most powerful muscle fruit pound for pound and dollar for dollar. Let me add 2 more reasons why oranges deserve the top spot. First, oranges contain nobiletin, a polymethoxylated flavin found in the peel and the white pith. Nobiletin has been shown to activate the sirtuin-1 pathway, the same longevity pathway that pterostilbene from blueberries activates. But nobiletin accesses this pathway through a different molecular entry point, meaning the 2 fruits provide complementary rather than duplicate sirtuin-1 activation. More sirtuin-1 activation means more mitochondrial biogenesis, more metabolic efficiency, and better muscle cell function. A study published in the journal Metabolism found that nobiletin improved mitochondrial function and reduced fat accumulation in skeletal muscle tissue. Reduced intramuscular fat is particularly important because fat-infiltrated muscle is weaker, more insulin-resistant, and less responsive to growth signals. Second, oranges support tendon health in ways that go beyond vitamin C's role in collagen synthesis. The flavonoids in oranges, particularly hesperidin and naringenin, have been shown to reduce the activity of matrix metalloproteinase enzymes in tendon tissue. These enzymes break down collagen in tendons, and their overactivation after 60 contributes to tendon weakness and increased injury risk that derails so many older adults' exercise programs. By suppressing tendon collagen degradation while simultaneously supporting tendon collagen synthesis through vitamin C, oranges provide comprehensive tendon protection that keeps you exercising safely and consistently. And consistency is the key to muscle growth at any age. The best exercise program in the world does nothing for you if a tendon injury sidelines you for 3 months. Eat oranges whole whenever possible, rather than just drinking the juice. The white pith contains the highest concentration of hesperidin and nobiletin, and the fiber slows the absorption of natural sugars, preventing the blood sugar spike that pure juice can cause. If you do juice them, include some of the pulp and pith to capture the flavonoids that would otherwise be discarded. What happens when all 10 fruits work together? Let me show you what happens when all 10 fruits are working together in your body. The inflammatory blockade that was preventing your muscle cells from responding to protein is being suppressed by tart cherry anthocyanins, goji berry, polysaccharides, papaya, beta-cryptoxanthin, and blueberry pterostilbene. 4 fruits silencing inflammation through 4 different molecular pathways. The insulin resistance that was weakening the growth signal is being reversed by avocatin B from avocados and hesperidin from oranges through AMP, activated protein kinase activation, and toxic lipid clearance. The damaged mitochondria that were poisoning your muscle cells from the inside are being removed by urolithin A from pomegranate and replaced by fresh mitochondria stimulated by pterostilbene from blueberries and hesperidin from oranges. A complete mitochondrial renewal program. The protein digestion bottleneck that was wasting the amino acids from your meals is being opened by actinidin from kiwi and papain from papaya, two complementary enzymes ensuring maximum amino acid absorption. The blood flow restriction that was starving your muscles of nutrients is being reversed by citrulline from watermelon and anthocyanins from blueberries, both stimulating nitric oxide production for improved vasodilation. The acid-base imbalance that was dissolving muscle protein is being buffered by potassium from bananas, avocados, and oranges. The myostatin brake that was preventing new growth is being released by hesperidin from oranges. The growth hormone decline that was reducing overnight repair is being addressed by Goji berry polysaccharides. The neuromuscular junctions that connect your nerves to your muscle fibers are being protected by blueberry compounds, and the creatine deficit that was reducing your muscles' explosive power is being corrected by betaine from goji berries. Every pathway, every bottleneck, every mechanism of sarcopenia is addressed by at least one fruit, usually 2 or 3 working through independent molecular targets. And here is the practical reality. You do not need to eat all 10 fruits every single day. You need to eat them consistently across each week, rotating through them, so that over 7 days your body receives all 10 compounds regularly. Some days you eat watermelon and blueberries. Other days you have pomegranate and papaya. Bananas, kiwis, and oranges are easy enough to eat daily. Avocado goes with lunch. Goji berries and tart cherries can alternate as evening additions. The key principle is variety and consistency. No single fruit can do what all 10 together accomplish, but you do not need to eat them all simultaneously. You need to make them a permanent rotating part of your dietary pattern so that over each week every muscle-building pathway is supported. Every inflammatory pathway is suppressed, every mitochondrial renewal signal is activated, and every amino acid transporter and digestive enzyme is working at full capacity. The total daily fruit intake in this protocol amounts to approximately 3 to 5 servings per day, depending on which fruits you choose on any given day. This is well within dietary guidelines and provides a total sugar load that is easily handled by a body that is physically active, which you should be if you are serious about building muscle. These fruits do not replace protein. They do not replace exercise. They make both of them work the way they are supposed to work in a body over 60. 10 fruits. Every pathway that was blocking your muscles from growing after 60 is now open. Protein is the brick. These fruits are the entire construction crew. Now you know more about how fruit builds muscle than almost anyone alive. Use it. Give this video a like, subscribe to Senior Meal Coach, and share it with someone who wants to stay strong, active, and independent as they get older. Your support helps us keep creating simple, practical videos to help you eat better and age stronger.